Welcome to Fingering the Page.
I'm Katie.
And I'm Andy, and we're here to talk about the books that touched us.
In our hearts. And sometimes somewhere else.
Katie, what are some somewhere else's you wish you were right now?
Sports rom-com. Sports rom-com. Sports romance con.
There we go.
I did it.
Yeah, you did. We really wanted to go this year, but we spent all of our budget on comedy festival entry fees.
And Andy still hasn't been hired back at Big and Orc.
No. Katie does have a job, but she's unwilling to finance us because she says she's saving up for her wedding.
Yes, he is out there, and once I find his broken body on the ice, I will save him emotionally and financially. If you guys haven't guessed what our next book is about, it combines two of our favorite things, hockey and bad boys.
Katie, if you had to name some of your favorite bad boys, who would they be?
Will Smith, Martin Lawrence. Bad boys for life, we ain't going nowhere. We ain't go nowhere.
Katie,
we can't be stopped now, because it's bad boys for life. We ain't. It was on Totally Hits 2001.
Yeah, Katie, you can't have both bad boys.
Okay, fine. I'll take Will Smith.
And I'll take Chris Rock.
It's not Chris Rock.
I think it was, I know Martin Lawrence was one of his partners, but he had Chris Rock as his other partner, right?
No,
so
you're thinking of the Oscars.
Right, that is it. Okay, yeah. Okay. Well, listen, if the readers want to know about an award-nominated book, might we suggest
The Giver.
But if you want something way more fun and relatable,
The Giving Tree.
And if you want something where wet panties are another character in the book,
Run, don't walk.
Be quiet, you're in a library. Walk of Shame. Astrid O'Malley is left at the altar by her soon-to-be ex-fiancee Tig Jones for another hockey team.
Instead of getting married, he says, I do to a new uniform. Super normal stuff.
Totally. Heartbroken, Astrid denounces hockey and goes on a worldwide tour of exotic lands like Denmark, Luxembourg, and even Baltimore.
She truly fucked her way around the world.
To be clear, we're not slut-shaming. She called it her worldwide new dick tour.
And honestly, I am pro Mrs. Worldwide. Get after it. Personally, though, I would be too afraid that I would catch some stuff.
Which might be why Astrid has to keep changing her underwear throughout the book.
Speaking of changing your panties, try our newest merch, Vagistat.
For when you need to get rid of vag-itch, stat.
Vagistat.
5 years later, Astrid's working at a bar when she meets Cal Matson, a former goalie with one last chance to hold on to his career after a tragic accident in which a rival hockey player trips and slides into him skate first, nearly slicing open an artery and leaving a liter of blood on the ice. Nobody knew if he was going to live or die. The announcers actually declared him dead, and his parents disowned his body to save on funeral costs. His sisters had his name removed from the family tree so their children would never have to know their uncle's painful disfigurement. But he survives and meets Astrid, and guess what? Sparks do fly!
It's just a one-night stand, though, not to be repeated. That is, until Cal happens to find out that Astrid is his new boss's daughter, and the assignment is helping her old fiancé regain his game. Past and present collide as Astrid and Cal try to rein in their feelings while working side by side to help Tig get his groove back. Will Astrid let Cal into her crease? Or will she get back with Tig and end up in the penalty box? Andy and I actually went to a hockey game this weekend to get our heads in the game, so to speak.
And neither of us wanted to drive because, as we've said before...
We live in a city.
So we called our pal Gary. Do you remember Gary from Gary's Limos?
MVP.
When we talked to him about this, he said, I can only take you halfway because my bus is only licensed for school or retirement homes.
We said deal. Then he said, but to make up for it, I'll let you guys take a cookie from my cookie jar.
We said, hey, we're pre-diabetic, my friend. If you combine the two of us, we're just one full-blown diabetic.
And Gary said, oh, pre-diabetic, huh? I got the real cure for that. Movement.
And that was the night we walked 13 blocks to Staples Center.
My feet still hurt. By the time I got there, the game was over. Heard it was great, though.
Yeah, Gary said it was insane. Super glad we have this hockey book to scratch that itch, though.
Thank God.
Let's get into what we liked and what we didn't about this book.
In a segment we like to call What We Liked and What We Didn't About This Book. Let's start with what we liked.
We loved how much Tig, the man who left Astrid at the altar to continue his hockey career with another team, absolutely sucked.
Yeah, the guy blew chunks, and it was awesome. Zero redeeming qualities about him.
Every time Astrid even started to think about the good times, she was reminded how much he sucked as a human being. How much did he suck, Katie?
Oh my gosh, the most suckage ever. Even in the book, it stated that no one on his team even liked him. Do you know how hard it is to get an entire team, 23 full people, to not like you?
Speaking of teams, when you're trying to communicate...
You're derailing.
Oh, okay, sorry. Normally in fiction, the author tries to convince us that the ex is growing and trying to change, and our heroine might get back together with him. But not Tig. He does not evolve.
He stays stagnant, and we love that. When he tries to apologize, years after he left her at the altar, I can't get over this. He says, "All I know is I never said we were over. I never used the words breakup. I told you I loved you, and then you stopped responding to my calls." This is after he left her at the altar. Then he goes, "You ghosted me." He's the one that went to a new team in a new city. He also accuses her of ditching him. Honestly, unbelievable. This guy's unbelievable.
Did he grow up without a dad?
It's heavily implied.
Listen, guys, even when Tig gets better at hockey, he never really grows as a player, and Astrid tells him they are never getting back together. Pearl Jam. What else did we like?
The killer insults. Avery is a master of these insults.
Big time.
Some of the best I've heard in a while.
Katie, would you like to monologue this?
Yes. Astrid isn't the reason why you can't stop a puck to save your life. This is it, fuck nuts. Start doing your job or you can kiss hockey goodbye.
Why do you have your baseball cap on backwards?
Shut up, fuck nuts.
I also enjoyed when Cal and Astrid were called puckheads by Parvo. Now let's move on to what we didn't like about this book.
There was a clear lack of professionalism from the jump.
Listen, guys, I get it. You go to a bar, you meet a mystery bartender who you think is kind of hot, you rescue her from her cousin. Boning will happen. We've all been there. But to show up to your new boss's house and see that the bartender is his daughter, maybe try to keep it in your pants.
Let's check out Cal's subconscious on page 61. Cal was preoccupied watching Astrid. She had on a skirt that stopped just above her knees and a tank top with thin little straps that would snap if you pulled them just right. And that was a mental image he didn't need right now. But later, he'd revisit that in depth, his hand wrapped around his cock. Sir, you are at your boss's house.
In the kitchen pantry, near the bread, Pop-Tarts right at arm's length, because that's where everyone keeps their Pop-Tarts, and decides to play a game where they try and get each other off without making a sound. First one to make a noise loses.
The guy clearly does not value opportunity.
No.
He claims it's his dream job. He claims he's trying to get out of the family business. And that family business is an all-female mechanic shop. You've heard the tale once, you heard it all the time.
Totally. Love that tale.
Thank you, Avery. But instead of networking his ass off, what does he do?
He's networking his hand off in her pants for a party of one. Listen, guys, I'm not a prude, but let me just say, if that kind of behavior happened at my last job, I would have been fired from Big and Orc for a completely different reason. All right? Now, yes, I was fired because an orc took my job. But if I had been caught pleasuring the owner's daughter, he would have taken me to court immediately, at which point a judge would have said, "Why are you here?" He would have said, "He pleasured my daughter in the pantry. He's also an employee." And the judge would have said, "You're fired, bro."
It's an open and shut case.
Yeah, immediately done. What else didn't we like, Katie?
The confusing cover art. Why does this cover art have nothing to do with hockey? And why does the title not have anything to do with hockey?
Not sure.
Based on this cover, Andy, what would you think this book is about?
I would think it's about a drunk party girl who's about to learn the magic of debt reconciliation.
Yeah, and I would think that walk of shame is related to her walking into the bank and because she's ready to declare bankruptcy.
Or worse, meeting the love of her life in Debtors Anonymous.
Ugh. Do we have any better titles?
Of course. In the Crease.
Skate into my heart.
He left a liter of blood on the ice and his heart in my hand.
It's long, but it's good. I have one last one. Puck me in the pantry.
Nailed it.
Got it.
Yeah. Anything else we didn't like, Katie?
Now that you mention it, there were some real uh-ohs or oh snaps or essentially truth bombs that I like to call in this book, usually in the form of questions from the character of the therapist.
Which brings us to a whole new segment called
Questions that Make Us Uncomfortable. Honestly, this is good stuff. We should be more open on this show.
For sure.
This is what the people need from us.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with question 1 from page 46, if you're following along. Quote, have you ever thought about what you want? Not what you're protecting yourself from. Not what you're determined to avoid. But what you really want.
Okay. So that scares me, hearing that. I don't think I'm allowed to say my answer out loud. I think it's just like an internal thing I'll wrestle with for the rest of my life. For those of you who don't know, I actually started this as an audiobook, listening to it. And when it got to this part, I immediately stopped it because I was driving and I was like, I don't need to drive and cry at the same time. Turned into it, just started reading the actual book and just flipped through those pages immediately.
What, can you answer it though? I think people want to hear
I guess, I think, what if I asked you a question first and then you answered it and I saw, okay, that's how Katie does it. That's how I'll be doing it. Okay. I think all of our watchers can agree that this is how it should be done.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm not afraid. I can go.
All right. Later on, the therapist asked Astrid, what kind of chances and risks have you taken with your heart after your last heartbreak? How have you opened yourself to experiencing the world that included true intimacy? What scares you so much about being vulnerable with another person? Okay, I guess, Katie, went too far. What about a softball question?
I bet 350.
That'll do it for episode 7 of Fingering the Page.
Keep your hands above the covers.
Or don't.
And until next time,
keep reading.